Welcome back to the One Shot Podcast. I'm your host, Vincent.
And I'm Johnny. Welcome back. This is the 5th episode of the show. Last week, we covered the movie Knives Out.
Very, very good movie. You have our ratings on that in the last episode. And we are actually here with a special guest today.
Hello.
Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
This is my first time doing this.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Right. Hi, my name's Helv. They brought me in because I like Batman.
Yeah. And don't feel like you need to talk to the camera. Just you can feel like you just.
I want to look into their souls. It's okay.
Okay.
He is vengeance.
I was about to say that he wants to be vengeance. So, with that, since if you couldn't guess already what movie we're doing the new Batman. Batman. Sorry.
The Batman. So this movie is a PG-13 rating with a long 2-hour and 56-minute runtime.
It tired me out.
Yeah, it was a little long. And this was released on March 4th, 2022 by Warner Brothers.
Yes, and it's an action, crime, and drama.
Yeah, and it is now available on HBO Max. Otherwise, you can buy it on Prime Video. But who wants to spend that type of money?
But, I mean, you're pretty much getting it for the same thing on HBO. You're buying a membership. So we're going to jump right into the plot of this movie.
Yeah.
So the plot of this movie is when the Riddler... Oh, my God. Let's try that again. When the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. So I put that plot in there before I actually saw it because I wanted to get some of this script done before we started. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch the movie until today.
Which makes sense.
So rereading that now, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, when I was watching this movie and, like, it says questions his family's involvement, I was like, what does he have to do with this?
Right.
But then, like, obviously you see his parents were the entire driving force of this entire
film. Gotham City. Yeah.
And the Riddler, he was the cause.
Right. How did you like this plot? Both of you, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I'll let you go for it.
Plot-wise, it was fairly simple, but it wasn't like it was disengaging.
Yeah.
Like, you were entertained, but they didn't want to throw too much at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense, but in that sense, I feel like that's how they kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah, why were you a little bored?
At parts, yeah. At parts I was bored.
Okay.
Like, I don't like I said last night, cuz I tried watching it last night late because I wanted to get it over with.
Then again, you should say it was 2 a.m. when you started watching this movie.
It was 1 a.m. I got an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I dealt with because I had started to watch the movie I think 3 times, but I only had time to do it at midnight. Yeah. And so I would be exhausted and then I would fall asleep and be like, okay, I don't even know where I left off because it kept playing.
Right.
So I watched the first half of the movie probably 8 times before I got to finish it.
Well, that means you really got into it then.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, I watched it late, and I don't know if I was just very, very tired or it just didn't, the part that I was watching didn't really pique my interest as much.
Well, I saw this in theaters opening weekend, and I thought it was a hit. I'm going to be completely honest. I love this movie.
Okay.
I'm not a huge Batman guy, but I love I like Batman. But I thought the plot, it was simple. It worked. I wish we had more of Zoe Kravitz in this movie, Catwoman.
Yeah.
That I felt like was a little bit left out. Wish we had a little more. But
it just seemed like
enough.
she was in it here and there. It didn't seem like she was main character what they wanted her to be.
No, I really wish we saw a little bit more from her though. I'm gonna be honest.
I could see that definitely.
Yeah.
She had key points in this movie, but it wasn't.
Yeah, she did, but then again, it left me wanting more.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, a good thing because there's potential for, I don't know, maybe she gets her own spin-off movie or she's in another movie with Batman. Who knows?
Right.
Because they kind of left that door open.
That's kind of what I want to know is if they're going to make a second one. What are they gonna call it? The Batman 2?
Yeah, I know. I assume it's gonna follow the lines of how we in the past we had Batman Begins,
yeah, Dark Knight
Returns, stuff like that. I think it'll be something similar to that.
Probably. Major cast for this movie. Major cast.
Definitely. Obviously, we have Robert Pattinson starring as Batman, and he's known for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the infamous Twilight Saga, where he plays... I can't think of his name.
Edward
Cullen.
Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I haven't seen those movies in probably 4 or 5 years. So
you actually watched them?
I did. I was forced to watch them.
Oh, okay.
I was actually handcuffed, and I was handcuffed to my seat. I had to watch these movies. So no, but I actually didn't think they were that bad. I'm gonna be completely honest. I
couldn't tell you. Didn't watch them.
Yeah, I was.
Sorry.
I actually did enjoy them, and he was good in it. I'm gonna be honest.
So funny thing is, actually, like I think it was like maybe like the next day after I wrote that in there, like the Twilight Saga. I got a TikTok on my phone, and it's somebody watching the Twilight series, and I'm like, I don't want this on my TikTok. It's like gone. Yep.
The internet is listening. Your phone's always listening.
Yeah.
Even though you're typing it into the script, it's still listening.
Yep.
He's also known for his roles in Water for Elephants, Tenet, and The Lighthouse.
I hate Tenet. I'm saying that right now.
I really enjoyed this movie.
I hate it.
Tenet was so good.
We're actually gonna review that soon. So,
eventually, we're gonna get there.
So we're recording this on April 25th. So soon we are going to record Tenet. We're gonna do that because we have a lot of different opinions.
We do, and I think that'll make some good content.
Yes.
Who is next on our star-studded cast list?
So next up we have Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, known for Mad Max, X-Men First Class, which I completely forgot about.
Was she playing that again?
She was the she had like the fairy wings. She had like the tattoo of the wings on her back, and like,
my god, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was her.
Oh shit, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
And then she gets murked.
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
She's in the Divergent series. I think she's in the first 2.
Yeah.
I think that's what I read. Funny thing is, she also voices Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie.
Does she really? Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
And she also voices Mary Jane in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
So she is both MCU and DC.
I found that out, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good fun fact there. Next, we have Paul Dano as the Riddler. I don't know. This casting, I liked it, but I want
to talk about that. So, when I saw the Riddler's actual face, I was literally like, it's a fucking teenager.
Yeah, he looks really young.
I was like, him and Bruce are supposed to be the same age.
Are they really?
I would assume. What do you know anything about this? Like, do you?
I don't know the exact ages.
Okay.
I would assume, because weren't they? I feel like they were orphanage.
Yeah,
like
I think the point that they were trying to make in this movie is that a lot of these guys kind of are the same generation. So I can't imagine them being any more than 5 years apart.
Right, because
him, spoiler, Joker, everyone, they're around the same age.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, except for Oz. I mean, he's old, but
right. Mm-hmm. Well, because like towards the end in the interrogation thing, in the interrogation scene, he's like talking about how Bruce was orphaned,
right. So he was clearly a child and was jealous.
Yeah.
So
because he was like, oh, you sat in your castle, whatever, high above, looking down on everybody. So I would assume they're trying to be around the same age. But when I saw him, I was like, that's a fucking teenager.
Yeah, he looked like he was in high school.
Yeah.
I assume it's just the actor, him looking young.
He does just look like that in everything he's in.
Yeah, no doubt. Paul Dano, he's also known for his roles in Looper, which was a 2012 film. This was also directed by Rian Johnson. We were talking about this in the last episode, if you guys were tuning into that, Knives Out. And he's also known for The Girl Next Door, 12 Years, A Slave, Little Miss Sunshine, and There Will Be Blood. None of which I know except for Looper.
I've heard of Looper. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
We talked about it last episode, right? That was with Bruce Willis.
It's the futuristic film, I believe.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Have you seen Looper?
Have you seen Looper?
No, but I saw 12 Years a Slave.
Oh, okay.
And the whole point of that movie and that type of movie is you're really supposed to just hate everyone in it.
Oh, okay.
Like,
gotcha.
Because it's through the perspective of this man who's taken from the North, brought into the South, and put into slavery.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget exactly what he is, but he's like part of like the ranch or plantation.
Okay.
Dano's character, and he's just a piece of crap. He's just
Okay.
All right.
Well, I mean,
He does a very good job.
That's
Yeah.
one way to kind of.
If you don't like him, that means he's doing
Yeah.
he's doing his
Right,
But-
yeah.
his job right.
That's a weird way of kind of trying to sell a movie where
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You're supposed to hate everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
'Cause-
interesting.
Well, the more you hate the person, the better job they did.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I'm sure
More
he's a great
involved.
guy in person.
Oh yeah.
yeah, no.
I just
no
hope
doubt.
nothing comes out.
Yeah.
That is true. Up next we have Colin Farrell, and he plays Penguin.
Or
But-
Oz.
or
Technically, we had a little
Is-
chat. of
we
this
hear
about,
both of it. We hear both.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
interchangeable.
We had a little chat about this beforehand.
Okay.
So technically, he really doesn't become
I figured he wasn't Penguin
until Falcone dies. I would say
he's his right hand man. He's not the head honcho
because
yet.
he doesn't. Yes, the Penguin name is around, like we
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
But he all he's doing is introducing himself as Oz.
Okay.
He's not introducing himself as like Penguin or anything.
Mhm.
You know, he hasn't taken up that name yet.
Well, I assume that in the series, the Batman series that they're coming out with, this is going to be more like they're going to talk about it more. It's more.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
I would assume so.
I would hope so, because I mean, I liked Colin Farrell as Penguin. He was good. I mean, you wouldn't even know it was Colin Farrell.
I had no idea.
But
See,
we'll get into that a little bit
comparing
later.
those, comparing those two is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And he is known for his work in Minority Report.
That was a good movie. I actually like that.
That was good?
I read the book on that in high school.
You read? You actually read a book?
Sadly.
Damn. Oh,
I know.
Okay. Well, me. He's also known for his job in 2003's Daredevil, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Dumbo, and The Gentleman.
He played Bullseye in Daredevil. Is it Bullseye?
Did he really?
Bullseye's the main villain, right? I don't know if Bullseye's
I don't know,
a
to be
villain
honest.
I haven't
or...
seen that in years. I don't know.
I haven't seen that. That's pretty old, dude.
Well, do you know anything about like the comics? Do you know who Bullseye is in the comics or anything?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Is he supposed to be villain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
he skirts sometimes. but
That's why I
he's
think.
kind of like Venom, where sometimes he's just a full villain, sometimes he's an anti-hero.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Alright.
gotcha. Well, yeah, I saw Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I thought he did a good job in that.
That was the first one, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
These new ones are kind of
Yeah, he was the
stupid.
disguised Grindelwald.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the third one yet, which actually just came out, I believe, a week or two ago.
Not a Harry Potter guy.
I love Harry Potter. I'm a big Harry Potter guy. So, stay tuned. We might be going over something,
Johnny's
something
gonna-
Harry Potter eventually.
Johnny's gonna force
I
me
would
to
like
watch
to.
him.
I would totally love it. It'd be so good. I mean, it's gonna be a binge for you because there's what 9 to 12 movies altogether, including the Fantastic Beasts.
Do I have to watch those?
No, because they're not like
Okay.
Yeah,
super
I
important.
would not make anyone do that.
Have you seen all? Have you seen all the Harry Potters?
Oh yeah.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
he's a
big fan.
gentleman.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Who
All right.
do we have up next?
The threw me off.
Sorry.
Up next, we have Jeffrey Wright as Lieutenant Gordon. He is known for Casino Royale with Daniel Craig, as
Yeah.
we said in Knives Out. Daniel Craig plays James Bond.
Yeah, exactly.
He is also known for the last 3 Hunger Games films.
Mhm.
And he also voiced Tony from Rick and Morty.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tony is the alien guy that keeps taking a shit on Rick's toilet.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then he ends up... I think Rick ends up killing him, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Right? I think.
I don't remember. I haven't seen Rick
Something.
and Morty in a while. It's been a few
Rick
years.
and Morty's good.
I don't watch it.
You don't watch Rick and Morty? I thought you would.
No, you've never.
I really thought you would be one to watch Rick and
I
Morty.
used to, but you need to understand I was never in a state to remember it.
Okay, that's fair.
That's valid.
That's a fair point. He also voices Isaac in The Last of Us Part 2, the video game.
Okay.
And also he voices Batman in a Batman podcast.
Really?
It's called Batman: The Audio Adventures.
That's really cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, but like
I like that.
after doing this script and then watching the movie,
Yeah.
listening to his voice, I'm like, yeah, he can totally voice a Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard. I've never even. Didn't even know that he did.
Yeah,
that.
so
That's
so
really
I
cool.
wrote this before,
Yeah.
and then I watched the movie, and it's just like, it's like, oh yeah, I can hear it.
Mhm.
I can hear it now.
Okay.
Yeah, and the style of that Batman podcast, it's almost like kind of like an
You've
old
listened
school.
to it?
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
an old
okay.
school.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's like an old school radio broadcast, and he kind of plays into it a little bit, but he also has his like quiet moments. And
Oh,
like,
okay.
Oh.
I mean,
okay.
he's still Batman, but you know,
Right.
Yeah.
everything is kind of like in that kind of 50s kind
Okay.
of radio. Host
That's cool,
thing.
though. That's very
That's really
cool.
cool.
And then this is the big one. He also voices the Watcher in Marvel's What If series.
So this is another person who is in both the MCU and the DC, which is really cool because, like I said before, people really think it's wrong to be in both. You have to choose a side, which I don't think is right. But
I mean,
I think you should be able to do what you want.
It depends on.
I mean, if you're playing superstars in both of them, I feel like that's really demanding and confusing.
Well,
to
the
some
Watcher
people,
is huge in the MCU.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, but he's voiceover, so you can get away with that.
Right, it's not like he's live action. Watcher.
If Mark Hamill was ever cast as a live action Joker, people would flip out because he's still Luke.
So technically,
although I think that would be really cool.
It could be, yeah.
So
Kevin Conroy did. Kevin Conroy actually played a live action version of Batman in one of the CW TV shows.
Okay.
And they took inspiration from a comic book where pretty much Bruce has an exoskeleton because he just can't.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Really?
It was the crossover event of The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow.
Of course you know this. You're a huge Flash guy.
Yeah, it was on that whole. I think it was Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
Right. But Kevin Conroy has only voiced him.
It's when the whole Paragon thing. I don't know if you've seen that. That's what that's
was
what
that
they
within the last 3 years or so?
I
stopped
so.
watching 2 years ago.
Yeah,
3 years ago.
it's so what? Arrow died.
Spoiler.
Sorry, Arrow died 2.
That's so old now.
2 years.
Yeah, I know.
2 years ago. Our freshman year here, so 2 years ago.
I haven't seen that either. I don't even know.
Because remember, I was watching it in health class. I was watching it on my phone.
Yeah, you're right.
And he dies right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just see tears come down my face, and John's like, what the fuck are you watching? I'm like, dude, Arrow just died.
I do remember that. Dude, I forgot about that.
And then you were like, dude, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Oh god, I stopped watching those. I don't know, they weren't that great.
I'm riding it out.
It was like Game of Thrones, how the beginning was super, super good, and then the end was kind of just fell off.
The Flash this season is not bad. I still haven't watched the latest episodes yet, but
wow, what fan are you?
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. So now, obviously we're doing the Batman, and there's been Batman so many times before, so I think the great thing to do is to talk about everyone who's played Batman in the past.
Yeah, let's take it back. I'm gonna pass it over to Helv because he actually is a big Batman guy, so he knows all the past, present, maybe even future ones to come.
Knows?
Oh, I control it all. I am the DC version of the Watcher.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
So you start off with, and I'm not going to mention Adam West. I'm sorry, because he wasn't really a cinematic appearance of Batman.
Yeah.
He had the TV show, and they made a movie about the TV show. It was like a 1-hour thing, but it doesn't count. That's when everyone knows about the shark repellent on the airplane. Yeah. That was the movie. Batman has shark repellent on his bat belt.
Yep.
I didn't know.
It's very, very dumb, but I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
So the first time we got to see Batman taken seriously was in 1989. Michael Keaton played him. It was directed by Tim Burton. Yeah, Tim Burton.
Yeah. For the first 2 movies. The
first 2, yep. He played in Batman and then Batman Returns.
So the thing is, I always think of Tim Burton as just, didn't he did...
you think of Nightmare Before Christmas, don't you?
Yeah, that's all I think of. I just think of stop motion when I think of Tim Burton.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
literally all I think
as simple as that.
Interesting little fact, he also did Beetlejuice.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
So Michael Keaton was in Beetlejuice.
Was he really?
Tim Burton, he was Beetlejuice.
Oh, shit. See, I've never seen
and
Beetlejuice,
he liked his performance so much, and I guess he knew him as a person and how he acted. Mm-hmm. And he goes, even though this character is completely different, even though Batman's completely different from Beetlejuice, I know you can pull it off.
Right.
There was so much media against him being Batman.
Really?
There was so much backlash because he was a comedian too. And they were like, goofy Beetlejuice, making all these jokes. He can't be Batman.
Right.
But he nailed it.
Yeah, he did very... Yeah.
I think he understood the duality more than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it also has to do with when we see Batman. If he's just starting off, we don't really see a big shift. But he's been Batman in that movie for a couple of years. And so he understands how to play the kind of dumb billionaire, but he also will tell you, in little comments, he'll be like, I know a little more than you think.
Because the one scene where he's so kind of, I don't want to say starstruck, but he's he's kind of he meets Vicky Vale for the first time.
Yeah.
Where she asks him, "Hey,
Yeah.
do you know who Bruce Wayne is?"
Yeah, she goes, "Which of these guys is Bruce Wayne?" And he goes, "I'm not sure."
Yeah, like I'm
because
not sure.
he's curious, and he can't just tell her that he is.
Yeah, and then
he wants to know. Yeah,
they're peeping on his stuff,
and then he introduces himself as Bruce Wayne, and she's kind of like, You are Bruce Wayne? He goes, like, this time, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice. But he understood the character really well, and I like what him and Tim kind of threw off each other.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you mentioned, all of the like stop motion stuff.
Yeah, that's
if you watch Batman Returns, you can tell that it's a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah,
there's all those visual aspects. Danny DeVito is just straight out of one of Tim Burton's nightmares.
Oh my god.
Well, what is it? I don't. Is it the Batjet? No. What is it called?
Which one? The Batwing?
Yeah, thank you. The Batwing. I always want to call it the Batjet. The Batwing. You could tell that's completely like when it's flying through. You can tell it's like a miniature.
They're miniatures. Yeah.
You can
like
you can tell
did.
it is. But that's also back then. It's like that was big. That was big back then.
Exactly.
But nowadays it's like you watch it and it's like
some of the stuff looks a little grainy.
Yeah.
And some of the cars on the street were little Hot Wheels cars. And so there's a shot really cool. that was slowed down a little too much in my opinion. And you see the Batwing flying through the city like it's about to crash.
Right.
And they're like these little Hot Wheels cars. And you can tell.
That's funny.
That's
so funny.
Because they're like way too shiny. Like the rims of the wheels are like polished to it's like this isn't Gotham.
Yeah.
But it was still very, very good.
Yeah, I would have to say I agree with you with that. With Michael Keaton is probably one of the better ones that understands how to be Bruce Wayne and how to be Batman.
Not just good at one and really shitty at the other one.
Because the latest two, besides Robert Pattinson, Christian Bale, and Ben Affleck, I think there was one side to both of them.
Definitely.
And I think they both lean towards the Batman side. And also I think that's what this one does too.
Yeah. But I feel like that's also on purpose.
I want to get into this one once we break down, the other characters and all that. Mm-hmm. How about Val Kilmer? What did you think about that one?
Val Kilmer was an interesting choice because after Batman Returns, it was a very dark and gritty movie. They marketed it with McDonald's, and I guess McDonald's hadn't seen the movie yet.
Okay,
so
that's good.
They had like the Happy Meals with Catwoman and Penguin, and a lot of kids wanted to go see the movie. And I forget the rating of it, but kids were allowed to see it.
Right.
And then the parents saw it with them, and they were like, oh my God, Penguin is bleeding green out of his mouth. Like Catwoman gets thrown out of a building. Like, this is super violent.
Right.
And so Warner Brothers had a meeting with Tim Burton, and he was like, Tim, don't you want to do something else other than Batman right now?
No.
And then he's like, you don't want me to do the movie. And they're like,
oh, yes, I just saw this last night.
And he's like, no, I want to do it. And then he's like, no, you don't want me to do it. I'm out. So he's out. And then Warner Brothers wanted something more toyetic. That is a made-up word that they told Joel Schumacher, who directed Val Kilmer,
right,
and George Clooney, because before the script was even done, they had like toy companies making merch that they then had to put into the movie after the fact.
Yeah,
so it was done opposite.
Yeah,
That's
I was
crazy.
watching
so it became
something...
a huge toy commercial.
Yeah.
But Val Kilmer took it very seriously. I think he had big shoes to fill, but he did his own thing.
Coming after Keaton.
Oh
yeah, of course.
Yeah. He did his own thing. I really enjoyed it. I wish we would have seen a little more of him and Chris O'Donnell as Robin, because that's the first time we also saw Robin.
Okay.
And their chemistry was very good.
Yeah.
What were you saying, John, about...
In the making of the movie, they took so much inspiration from... Well, not really inspiration. They kind of let the merchandisers take the lead, and which they said after the fact was a big mistake because they didn't really get to do what they wanted to. Right. They were like, here, merchandisers, make what we should have in this film.
Yeah.
Which didn't really make any sense because why would you let somebody who doesn't know film make your movie? And that's kind of...
Right. And if you watch a Joel Schumacher film, you know that that's not his tier of, that's not his standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch Lost Boys, watch the film version of Phantom of the Opera. They're both very, very good. And he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But he kind of had to relinquish rights.
Mm-hmm. Right.
but it was still okay.
Yeah.
George Clooney, on the other hand.
So I'll put this out here right now. The only thing I know about, well, no, I can't say the only thing I know, but one of the big things I know about this movie is the suit, the bat suit with the bat nipples.
With the nipples.
Yes.
Yep. Why? Why would they?
So
ever...
questionable.
So there
Why?
actually is a reason they did explain it. Joel Schumacher did explain it. I don't agree with it, but I'm just going to say what he said. He wanted to bring in some elements from like the Greek gods and like the way that they were always depicted in statues.
Okay.
And he wanted to make them seem almost larger than life.
Gotcha.
But why did he have to make them like dark blue?
It didn't turn out the way it should be.
It was so weird because it was like dark blue nipples. Like what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I will say though, Robin's suit is pretty cool because it's pretty much just the Nightwing suit, but it's red instead of blue, and he had a cape.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So, I like that one a lot.
You know, get rid of the nipples, and then Robin had a great suit.
He really did. I like that a lot.
But I mean, I'm not here to talk about the suits. I'm here to talk about George Clooney as Batman.
What do you think? Was he more of a Bruce Wayne than a Batman?
He wasn't Batman at all. We see him for the first time, or not the first time, but we see him interact with Mr. Freeze, who everyone gives Mr. Freeze a lot of flack. He was pretty fun. For what the movie was, it was good.
For what it
was good. I think everyone knew what kind of movie you were going into at this point.
Right.
By the way, if I can just add this in, they gave him $25 million for that.
He got paid more than George Clooney.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And his name appears first.
Yeah.
Really?
Schwarzenegger's,
$25 million for that. And it was kind of a joke.
Holy shit.
I didn't care for his performance in that.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's,
So to put this out here real quick, I have a bias against Batman, and we're going to get into it. It's not a bias on the character Batman. It's a bias on
films.
The films. Yes, exactly. Okay. So continue.
Yes, please.
George Clooney didn't understand, or maybe he just wasn't given the right direction because he's a good actor. He's respectable,
He's good in the Ocean's movies.
He is.
Yeah,
but
he was a doctor and everything before this.
But he didn't understand what Batman was or is, so he showed up to the museum that Mr. Freeze was breaking into, and he stands there in front of him and he goes, "Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman." And it's like, that's not what he does.
No.
He'll come in from behind and like kick your leg out,
Right, exactly.
So he didn't, and it was also to do with the writing, but he also didn't even fight the writing. Which, if you're cast, you need to understand your character.
Right.
That is true.
So that's all I really have to say about that. I mean, they had a great cast, so
the cast was good. It just the writing was really poor.
Yeah,
and it kind of played into that like jokey, childish thing that they were going on with.
Bright colors, like
wasn't Jim Carrey was
like
the Riddler in that one, wasn't he? Was that
was with Val Kilmer?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Him and Tommy Lee Jones. They
he was
Two
Face. Yeah. Tommy Lee Jones was Two Face. I know that.
That was definitely really interesting.
But these are the ones I can talk about more. Is these last two guys on this list?
Definitely. Yeah,
Christian Bale and Ben Affleck.
Right. So after Batman and Robin, the movie didn't turn out well. Everyone was upset. They thought Batman was dead. They were like, "What are we gonna do?" I think it was like 9 or 10 years or something before they had an idea.
It was 9 years. They kept going on. Shit was being greenlit, and then it was canceled. Like it had posters and billboards for some, and then it just got taken down because they got in the trash.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't know
that. So then
we
eventually get to the point of Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that's the introduction of Christian Bale's Batman.
Right.
Yeah, he was really phenomenal. I liked his performance a lot. He was what I was introduced as Batman.
I remember when
up,
I think it was The Dark Knight came out. It was the whole meme of like, why is Batman's voice so deep? I'm Batman.
Yeah, I mean,
why is his voice so deep?
A little confusing, but I think Christian Bale blew us out of the park, and we got a little bit more of the introduction of how he became Batman. I feel like that's how Batman Begins really, really like got everyone into it.
Right. First,
his training and everything
he's
like that.
at the League of Assassins, all that stuff, and I think that's why those movies are kind of. Isn't that where it starts? Where he's like, I was born in the shit. Not Bane, but like.
Well, it's the whole idea that Bane and because the whole trilogy kind of goes full circle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bane and Bruce both kind of started in the same place. Obviously, one wasn't a billionaire, but they were trained in the same place by the same person. And the origin story was fairly comic accurate.
Okay.
Interesting fact, Joel Schumacher, who did Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, he actually had a lot of creative control afterwards, and he wanted to do a Batman Begins. It would have been a different name, but he wanted to do an origin.
That's because it
would have been gritty. It
Yeah.
would have been gritty, and I wish that would have happened.
Yeah.
But we did get Batman Begins. So,
Well,
Chris
at least-
Nolan is amazing.
At least we got that.
Chris
Yeah.
Nolan was freaking phenomenal. I think without him directing and leading the charge, it would not have been as good as it was.
Yeah,
because
right.
he was just he did such a great job.
Yeah. And even, if you can find a weaker link in that trilogy, they're all very good.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the last one isn't super great.
Right, but it doesn't ruin it. There
No,
are certain
not at
movies
all.
that ruin a franchise.
Yeah, without a
But
doubt.
this didn't. You can just say it's not my favorite.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's still good.
like even The Dark Knight was amazing.
Yeah.
Like Heath Ledger as the Joker, by far the best Joker of all time.
And
by
if
far.
I may add, Heath Ledger was actually he auditioned to be Batman.
Right.
And they're like, this
But
guy's
that's
too
like-
good. Let me not take him out.
So did Cillian Murphy, who played
Yeah, I
Scarecrow.
was
He was
just gonna say
supposed to
that
be
too.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was too
But-
creepy.
But that's also like Tom Hiddleston
Yep. He tried out
auditioning for Thor.
Yep.
Have you seen the
Yeah, it's
the
funny.
test footage?
It's funny.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah.
wig?
Especially from what we know now and what we see now.
Exactly.
I mean, but there's sort of like this retrospective kind of funny gag going on where you can kind of imagine Loki doing something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
When no one's watching, like, oh, I'm Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of mocking
He
him.
like turns one of his daggers into like the hammer. Like
yeah, I could see something like
yeah,
that.
I
That'd
think
be
that
pretty
would
cool.
be that would be funny. I think there was something I wanted to say.
About Christian Bale.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was about Christian Bale.
I don't know.
Heath
But
Ledger, Joker.
we'll move on, and you can think about that. Jumping to 2016 with Ben Affleck. What are your thoughts on him?
So, my view of that whole, dare I say, clusterfuck
Yeah.
that is the DCEU.
Yeah.
There were too many cooks in the kitchen. Ben Affleck is not a bad actor. He didn't have,
got it.
Go for it.
So, we were talking about this a little couple weeks ago or something, where you watched American Psycho and you were telling me about it, and I was saying that, do you think that if Christian Bale auditioned for the Joker, if he could have played it as good or
okay.
as Heath Ledger, because in American Psycho you see that psychotic break.
Well, that's why they casted him as Batman, because they knew he can get dark like that.
Okay.
That's what
Do you want to know
Christopher
why?
Nolan said.
Do you know why he actually got the script for Batman?
No.
Because his agent didn't. He was on a phone call with his agent. I guess he didn't read the script right.
Yeah.
And he thought it said Bateman returns.
Oh.
Or
like-
Bateman Begins.
So
he-
American Psycho.
He thought that it was going to be another Patrick Bateman story.
Shit,
And it was
okay.
a complete accident. But then they actually did look at American Psycho, and they were like, wow. So we can do two things with this guy. We can have him be crazy, or we know that he can just flip a switch in his head and go from crazy to normal.
Right.
And that's what you really need out of Batman. And if anyone gets the duality better than Michael Keaton, it is Christian Bale. Because he can pretend to be drunk at his party and tell everyone to get out because it's my family's money. But he's really trying to, get everyone out of the manor,
Right,
because
so
there's
that he-
terrorists in the building.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, and then you see him being his snotty Bruce Wayne
Yeah,
self,
and he
like,
can-
Yeah.
where it's like, sir, these girls can't be swimming
I'm
here.
buying
He's
the
like-
hotel.
and then he just
don't worry.
he writes him a
Yeah.
check and buys the
buying the
buys the
hotel.
hotel.
Oh my god. But yeah, jumping back into Ben Affleck, continue, please.
He's not a bad actor. Is he my favorite Batman? No. I don't want to say he's forgettable.
Yeah.
Because I liked Batman v Superman more than most.
I liked it too. I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, we
I
didn't see
haven't
anything
seen
like
it.
that ever before.
It was nice to see something
the silver
fresh
screen,
out
yeah.
of Batman.
I
Justice
don't care
League?
for Batman v Superman,
I know.
Yeah.
but I'm going to have to watch it because we have somebody that wants to be a guest, and I'm gonna have to argue with him. So, one of our close friends from freshman year here, he transferred out, but hopefully soon maybe we'll get him on here and
Yeah, definitely.
be able to record.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. I haven't watched it. Justice League, I was kind of fond of. Not the whole movie, but like certain parts. I was fond of.
That's true.
One thing I did like about, and I guess this isn't really the character, but more the movie, is that parademon scene where it's like a nightmare.
Oh.
And we see Batman straight up killing people with guns.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, and if you actually know the original plan that was going to be for that saga, Bruce was supposed to be having an affair with Lois, and that was going to drive Superman over the edge.
Oh,
that was the original plan.
That's just so weird, though.
It is weird, and it's a bit out of character, but it explains why they hate each other in that like desert sequence and why he just kills everyone. It would have driven and Bruce wouldn't have been like a good character. He wouldn't have been a good guy, which could have been interesting.
That's true.
But I mean, he's not hateable. He's still like a decent guy, but it's a little cringe when he goes like, "Do you bleed?" It's like.
Also, I think in Justice League, it was just like, I don't know. He was more Bruce Wayne when he was in the suit. He wasn't Batman.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
I feel like
he did kind of play the same guy.
Yeah. It wasn't that duality like we are trying to get
being
at.
able to switch back and forth between Batman and
right.
Yeah, I feel like with Ben Affleck, he was okay, but there was so much more to be desired. I don't know. I didn't hate it particularly, but I didn't really like it.
He's
either.
just a sugar cookie, next to a chocolate chip.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's actually
a good comparison.
That is.
Because
I'm hungry.
there you go.
Now, how do you feel about Robert Pattinson? Like the Robert Pattinson duality.
I don't think he has it yet, but I think
in the future.
Yeah, no, but I think that's intentional, and I appreciate that because
especially towards the end of this
film. If it is intentional.
Well, yeah, but like I'd like to think it's intentional. That's just some headcanon of mine. But the idea that he's only in year 2, and he's very, very edgy for no reason.
And
he's like, Alfred, you're not my dad.
Yeah,
and
he's
like,
a dick to Alfred. I hated that.
He is, but I mean, he's still young, and then Alfred wakes up from a coma and he goes, "You lied to me."
Yeah, I was so mad about that. I was like, the man almost died, and you're just gonna fucking bombard him right now?
Yeah,
like,
that was so funny.
You lied to me. Like, fuck off, dude. I just woke up from a coma.
The guy almost got
can't
killed.
Can't be like,
freaking bomb.
He needed to be edgy. He needed to have, he needed to be, a broken man before he can be fixed.
Right.
We need that. It's, I don't even know what I'm saying, but he needed some sort of, rise to the occasion sort of thing.
I think, I get what you're...
That was definitely intentional with this movie. But let's jump into the director and experience and stuff like that, and then we can dive more into that, because I definitely have some things I want to mention on that part. So this movie was directed by Matt Reeves, and he is mostly known for his Cloverfield franchise that he directed and wrote a couple things for. So he directed the 2008 Cloverfield movie, which is pretty much like a monster attacking New York City and so on and so forth.
What else is new?
And then
Give me something new. Come on.
Yeah, something new here. Apes. He directed the 2014 Dawn of the Apes movie, and then he ended up writing the 2017 War for the Planet of the Apes movie.
That makes sense why I cast Andy Serkis as Alfred.
Yeah, because they have a connection.
Yeah.
And with the Cloverfield franchise, he was the executive producer on the 2018 The Cloverfield Paradox and 2016's 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I thought was a smash hit.
He keeps trying to get me to watch
that
it. I haven't
movie was
watched
so
it yet.
freaking good.
John Goodman, man. I mean,
dude,
he's not just funny.
No.
Does so much more.
He was so good. I didn't even realize that it was Matt Reeves was involved in this project. And with Batman, there is a spin-off TV show called The Caped Crusader, which is supposed to be coming out in 2023.
Now is that going to be Robert Pattinson, or is it going to be animated? What's going on with that?
I am not exactly sure.
All right, we'll get into it now, because I want to. This is why I have a bias against Batman, because they keep changing the actor.
But then again, they do that with a lot of other people. You know what I mean?
Not really. Not really.
Superman, Spider-Man.
Superman was fine.
Superman
was fine.
They changed
Henry
the actors.
Cavill was fine. No. When?
Henry Cavill, I mean, he was it for a little while.
Henry Cavill was Superman for practically the same amount of time that Ben Affleck was. There just hasn't been a lot of Superman
But what
content.
I'm talking about is so now DC is trying to make the DCEU. They're trying to make the quote unquote the extended universe.
They actually are planning on dropping that, I think.
Yeah.
They want to do one-offs.
Okay.
Which is
better.
Well, now that it was bought and
Yeah.
Everything's getting scrapped.
Okay.
So.
Well, now that makes my bias a little bit less,
biased.
Yeah.
It's a fresh palette for every movie, which I love.
But the way they were trying to do it in the beginning was pissing me off because they were introducing these characters, then dropping them, then recasting them, then introducing the characters, dropping them, recasting them.
Yeah.
And then
it gets confusing.
Right. And now it's to the point where it's like you tried to make a Justice League movie and you see how that went.
Yeah.
It flopped because
you
didn't do it right.
No, not at all.
And now they're coming out with solo movies after the Justice League.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Marvel did it the right way. They introduced the characters one at a time to a big build-up.
Yeah. I was going to say something like that. Like, the only way you can make a Justice League movie work is you have two options. Make an Avengers movie, or do something completely different.
Right.
They tried to do something completely different, but with that, there's a risk that it just won't pan out.
And it didn't.
Yeah. And there were too many cooks in the kitchen. The editing was god awful.
Well, yeah, like they made Batman vs Superman. That was the first appearance of Ben Affleck. We've never seen him before.
I know. I did like that introduction actually.
I thought
but
he was
not
okay,
for
though.
every single character. I didn't want to get introduced to Aquaman and Flash and Wonder Woman in that movie.
I wanted to see
that
them
was
first.
Cyborg too.
That was too quick.
Yeah, no.
They could have made a Cyborg own movie or not even made a Cyborg movie. Like they made Man of Steel. They made and then they made Batman vs Superman, which introduced Wonder Woman. Then they made Wonder Woman's movie.
Yeah, it should have been the other way around.
And then they made the Justice League, and then Aquaman.
Yeah.
So if they did a Batman movie with Ben Affleck, they had Man of Steel already, and then if they made Wonder Woman before the Justice League, and then say they made Aquaman, and then made the Justice League, and then they find, Cyborg, Victor Crane, or is it Victor Crane?
Something like that.
Yeah. They find Cyborg somewhere throughout the Justice League. Yeah. I think that would have been better.
Only
kinda
add on one character.
Kind of like how they introduced Black Panther into Civil War.
Yes. Like it wasn't...
It wasn't forced.
No, not at all.
The Justice League was so forced. And we're not talking about the Snyder Cut. We're talking about
the original.
Original released Justice League.
And if I can add to that, they introduced Flash in a totally freaking awful way. They should have made all these movies before they did the big team up, which is, I think that's the right way to do it, because you want to know more about each character. Because, in the big team-up movie, they're not going to have enough screen time to dive into each character. And that's why the second the second Justice League movie worked a little bit more. Because they had time. Yeah, the Snyder Cut. It had more time to develop each character a little bit more.
Yeah, but they even introduced the Flash in the Suicide Squad, and it's like, just give the fucking guy his own movie.
Wait, in this new Suicide Squad?
No, in the first Suicide Squad.
The Flash?
That's how Captain Boomerang gets caught.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot
and that
about
was
that.
I'm pretty sure that was before the Justice League.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Do it right.
That's
true. Why I have such a big bias against the DC EU, but I guess since they're not doing that anymore, as you said.
That's just the DC EU. Like DC on its own has way better strengths.
I have to say, I love the TV show. Well,
the TV shows are really good.
I love the TV shows here and there. And
not that there's a ton, but
right, but like the ones on the CW, they do really well unless it's
But
Supergirl.
they milk the shit out of it though.
That's
yeah,
true.
unless it's
CW.
Supergirl.
Yeah,
that was just terrible from the start.
Yeah, I didn't
because that was on CBS and then it switched. Whatever.
Yeah.
The Flash was really really good. There's seasons in there. There's seasons in there that are not as good as the rest. Like the 2 seasons ago of The Flash wasn't great.
Yeah, and then there's certain seasons which the CGI is freaking terrible.
That was last season. It was fucking
so
ridiculous.
bad. I guess they cut the budget or something because it was
seriously.
terrible.
There's one thing that I really like about like those CW shows that actually will kind of lead us into the Batman, is that you got to see a lot of different live action iterations of a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
I remember in Gotham seeing Penguin for the first time. I was like, that could work. He's got this kind of alfalfa-looking hair. He's short. He's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
And, he just has, like, this persona that's bigger than him.
Yeah, exactly.
So I liked the way they did that. And you got to see a different version of Riddler, and you got to see, 3 different versions of Joker, which, they couldn't make him Joker. They didn't have the rights. But I think they did the right thing in creating 3 different iterations of him to turn Joker into a legend. Yeah. This way, every person can be satisfied with one of the Jokers that's appeared.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
But that Penguin in Gotham is nothing compared to Penguin here.
Oh,
yeah,
no, not at all.
And just the makeup itself.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw the cast of this film, and then we see the trailer, I'm like, where is Farrell? Like, I don't see him at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I realized, oh shit, he's Penguin. Like,
Yeah.
he's under all of those pounds and pounds of
Yeah,
makeup and
it's
prosthetics
crazy.
and everything like that. But jumping into the Penguin a little bit more, I think his performance was really phenomenal, and his makeup, that really helped portray his character so much more, and it just looked nothing like him.
Right. The
So.
physicality gave you Penguin.
Yeah.
The performance gave you Mob Boss.
Yeah.
And that's
no,
what you
without
need.
a doubt.
He's not
Yeah.
supposed to go like a penguin or
Yeah,
something.
no.
Like sometimes
Right.
they do that.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be obsessed with penguins. It's just something. It's like a name that he was called.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of like a tragic character too,
Mhm.
because everyone calls him the Penguin. He doesn't want to be called that.
No.
But you know, it's
Right.
it's the physicality of the character that gives him the name.
And
but
it really worked. He
Yeah.
played that mob boss phenomenally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he looked so good. I know we were talking about the Riddler costume.
Oh, God.
Dude, that was horrible. That was horrible.
Not a big fan of it, to be completely honest.
It reminded me of Leatherface.
I was about to say, it's been said a lot online. Gimp suit.
That was a gimp suit.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus, never mind.
Oh,
Cut
I
it.
don't know.
Cut.
Yeah, no, no. It's like it doesn't look menacing. It just looks
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah, it looks so stupid. It literally looks like he
Wasn't a
took.
big fan.
And the glasses over it. Like
Yeah.
really.
It literally looks like he took a
Roll of duct tape.
leather bag or pocketbook and just put it over his head, cut the eyes out.
Put glasses
And
If
on.
put
they can make a
glasses on.
cool story behind it, I can get past it.
Yeah, but there really was nothing
There
to
was no-
support it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they didn't give us a lot.
I didn't really care for it. I know I like the bat suit. I know you didn't really care for it, Vinny.
So there were scenes where the batsuit made it look like it was fit for a woman. If you kind of guys get what I'm putting down. The chest seemed a little
large.
rounder and, you know.
Why are you
not-
looking at Batman that way?
Well,
Sorry.
if I can support this, not support it, but
You know you
if I
want
can
to
add,
you
if
know
I
you
can-
want to support it, John.
If I can add on to this, Robert Pattinson didn't really build up for this film. He didn't get huge and
yeah,
yoked,
he seemed
you know what I mean?
kind of
He said he wasn't going to,
Yeah.
so that is possibly
Well,
why they made
because
his
that's-
costume
that
thicker.
makes sense because a lot of actors do kill themselves, like even
Christian Bale
yeah,
especially.
because he would have to go, you know, he would bulk up for Batman, then he would.
You should have seen him before Batman Begins when he did the Machinist.
Oh my God, he was like
Yeah,
That was
wasn't he?
scary.
Wasn't he like anorexic?
He was
in that?
anorexic,
Yeah, and then
he had to gain 60 pounds for Batman Begins, and he gained too much weight, and then he had to lose some
They
weight,
called
Yeah.
him Fat Man because
Yep.
they cast him, but then he continued to gain muscle.
yeah, and then he got ripped, and then he looked good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think we want to jump into one of my favorite parts of the show here, the visual effects.
big visual effects guy. This guy.
I love visual effects. CGI and everything like that is really fun. In this film, there's a ton of fire, explosions, and flames, and a lot of them are actually real.
Mhm.
A lot of them are not added on. There is a big scene, the car chase scene, which is such a freaking good shot
Yes.
scene. A lot of the fire and explosions and flames, a lot of it is real. Just looked so good.
It was really good,
And
even the CGI with the ramp.
oh my God, that looked
The way
so cool too.
the way the ramp
It fell down.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
looked really
really
nice.
enjoyed that.
I like that a lot. And this film, the visual effects in it were really good. One portion that I really enjoyed was the yellow and orange tone that was done.
Yeah, there was also a red tone to almost the entire movie.
In certain parts there was red, and this was done by increasing the saturation, which then creates more shadows, which is kind of perfect for Batman because, you know, Batman is in the shadows.
He is the shadows.
He is the shadows. But they
No,
also
he's vengeance in this one. Come on, guys, get it together.
He's Vengeance and Batman.
And then this also is done by tuning the RGBs, which is the red, green, blue colors, and adding in more yellow than normal, which gave us that yellowy orange look. And pretty much the saturation is the intensity and purity of a color as displayed in an image. And the higher the saturation of a color, the more vivid and intense it becomes. So that really works in this film. And the lower a color saturation, the closer it is to pure gray on the grayscale. So pretty much it just lower saturation is more of a cool like gray look, and the higher it's more vivid, and it looks really nice.
Yeah, that was really good. All the visuals on that were nice, and the different kind of color schemes were very cool. I want to jump into the music.
Music is so good.
I'm a little bit of a music guy. What can I say?
I really enjoyed the music in this film a lot as
yeah,
well.
So the score was done by Michael Giacchino. I hope that's
Michael
right.
Giacchino. Yeah, he's really good.
He also did the soundtrack for Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Spider-Man: Far From Home, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, and Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit, really?
Jojo, yeah.
And The Incredibles.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He did The Incredibles
my
too?
God.
Yeah, he did.
That's impressive.
That's crazy.
He's got a range.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
But then, we have the infamous song "Something in the Way" by Nirvana.
Which kind of gave it more life.
Oh, yeah. It
Because-
became a huge meme.
Yeah. And now
Huge
it's all
meme.
over TikTok and social media, and
Yeah.
it definitely hopped back in my playlist. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I saw this film opening weekend, and then I fell in love with the song again. And so now it's on my playlist. I listen to it every now and then.
Yeah, and then there's also Velour, Dean Martin, Italian classic.
It's such a good song. If you guys are Italian, you know this song by heart. You know all the words. I know I do.
Yeah.
It's
Volare is such a good song.
It's interesting to think that, that Italian song, I forget the name of it, but that kind of creates a more ominous and kind of scary presence when it's played in the movie than a Nirvana song.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I think it's like, just switching these things. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and then there's another song.
When you hear Something in the Way, it's like, oh, well, Batman's narrating, at least
makes
nothing's
sense.
happening.
Yeah, exactly. But when you get like these songs,
Yeah,
like,
I was very confused
okay.
where they were going with this.
And Giacchino had some motifs that were like referencing the Italian song, and also the Batman theme itself with the bump.
Oh my god, I freaking
I
love
swear
it's the
the
same.
song.
It's the same notes as Something in the Way.
You guys love this, but I have to say I'm not a big fan because
Of the new theme song?
Yeah, I swear to God,
Are you
every time.
serious?
Shut up. I swear to God,
This freaking
every
guy.
time I hear it, I just think I'm gonna see Darth Vader show up.
Why do you think that?
Dude, it sounds like it. You
Guess
gotta,
who did the music?
Well, yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah.
I get it. But, like, I swear to God, I feel like Darth Vader's just about to appear at any moment.
True.
So I'm like, that's the only reason, because it's way too similar to, bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, ba, ba.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it
I just,
is a little bit,
I
but-
feel like Darth Vader's just going to show up at any moment.
Yeah.
And
That
they
makes
also
sense.
have the, black and red hue, which is
That's-
Darth
yeah,
Vader.
that's
so
very
that's
fair.
that's
I
why,
guess so. That totally makes sense.
I'm very biased.
There is
towards
another
that.
song in this film, Ave Maria, which the Riddler liked.
Yep.
And
that was
it's
key.
very
That was
menacing.
key. In
Yeah,
this.
that's actually the song that I was talking
Yeah.
about. Where whenever that plays, it's somehow scarier than listening
Yeah,
to
and
Nirvana.
that's also
Yeah.
going on in the background when we see
Yeah.
the explosions,
Yeah,
we see
and
the
it worked
water
so
going
well.
and flooding. Yeah.
It really worked well, and Michael did such a good job. Giacchino?
Giacchino,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, Michael Giacchino did such a good job, and I think if it was anybody else, it might not have been as good. And like we've been talking about in previous episodes, the music is not supposed to really tell your story. It's supposed to be an aid to your story.
Emphasize your story.
And emphasize what you're talking about. I want to jump into some cinematography, and the director of cinematography was Greg Fraser, and he was also on Dune. So this is probably one of my best shot films I've ever seen, and they use a lot of rack focus in this film, which is pretty much focusing on one item or a person in the front of the camera or in front of the shot,
Yeah.
and then switching to somebody else.
They
in the
use that.
background.
They use the rack focus when the mayor's died, and Batman walks over to something, and he's in focus, and then somebody talks to him from there, and then they switch real quick
Yeah.
to the person behind him talking.
But yeah, I want to jump into one scene specifically from this, from the film. The car chasing scene is probably one of the best shot scenes I've ever seen. There's a ton of quick changing shots to help with pacing because it's supposed to be a quick,
Yeah, there
really
were a lot of
fast-paced
it seems
scene.
like there were a lot of jump cuts and a lot of quick,
without a doubt. I
yeah.
rewatched the scene a ton, and there was, I think, 5 or 6 different types of shots. We had some low angle car shots from the point of view of the front and back tires, a back seat POV, dash cam, windshield shots.
Even like outside the...
Yeah, there was a half windshield shot, which you had half of the windshield and half of the outside mirror, which I thought was really different because that's something I've never seen before.
I really like... I don't want to say this. Just keep going.
There was
we'll save it till
one,
the end.
The mirror shots were really good.
Yeah.
Like when they showed the interior.
Yeah.
And so it showed pretty much just like the character's eyes. Like they showed Oz's eyes and then they went back and they showed Batman's eyes. And I thought that was really something different that we haven't seen in a while. So this scene pretty much goes on. The shots, like, they make shots that like follow the cars, which we've seen obviously in any car chasing movie.
Right.
But they did it really well. They had cars like passing by them because they were on some sort of highway or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had rear mirror shots that focus on the drivers, which I thought was really cool. And then one that I didn't notice the first time watching it, they had a gas pedal shot when Penguin was going to gun it and put his foot down on the gas pedal.
Oh, no, there was a gas pedal shot and a brake shot.
Yeah, they had those, which is something I've never seen before, and I thought was really cool. And then after...
The only time you really probably will see those is like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, so pretty much the scene was Batman just trying to chase Penguin because they were having a money laundering thing.
Yeah, they were
on.
Still doing the... Yeah, it was...
And
watch
so,
the movie, people.
Come on, you need to see this movie. So pretty much Bruce is chasing Penguin, and they're getting closer and closer and closer, and there is a gas truck that explodes.
Yeah.
And Batman flies through and eventually lands after Penguin thinks, oh shit, I got him. He's done.
I love that scene. He was like, I beat you.
Yeah.
I beat you. And then just...
Yeah, he was so good. And then it kind of turns into this slow-mo Batmobile in the air. And then you get a nice tire shot from Penguin's car. And another one of him, the Batmobile, through Penguin's side mirror. And I thought that was really, really good.
I love the inside shot of that where he's literally just like,
oh my god, yeah, it's kind of like a little slow-mo, and then it gets faster and faster and faster as he like rolls over more after he like gets hit and crashes. Obviously,
so I wanna go into the I wanna jump to script and improv now because now with that scene I feel like they should have fit this F-bomb in.
Oh, without a doubt.
In there instead of what they did.
Yeah.
Because I was so pissed off when I heard that within the first 15 minutes of the movie. And literally when the commissioner is talking to Bruce and he literally just goes, this is probably your favorite time of the year, isn't it? Well, happy fucking Halloween. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's what they're going to use
That's what they're going to use it on? It's PG-13. You get one.
Yeah.
You get one. That's it.
I feel like they really wasted it.
Like, I swear, if it was...
They should have saved it for Batman. Imagine how cool that would have been.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if I would have loved it. I mean, it could have been interesting.
That's kind of like the same thing with Iron Man and Endgame. People are saying if he said, I'm fucking Iron Man, it wouldn't have...
Yeah, I don't think it
so
would have
I think that might have been the same reason behind this.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, in that car chase scene, if he just goes, I fucking beat you.
Yeah, it would have been more dramatic.
And then he sees the Batmobile.
Because he says, you freaking...
Yeah.
He says freaking instead of fucking, which would have been a lot more dramatic, and I feel like it would have hit a lot different. You know what I mean?
And especially if he's just like, oh, I fucking beat you. And then seeing him, he would have been like, ah, shit.
It would have been a lot better. Yeah. There's one part of this film that I really enjoyed that was in the script, and it was really phenomenal. Throughout this film, Bruce Wayne says that he is vengeance, and that's because of his frustrations and anger. But after the flood scene that we get at the end of the film, he sees one of the Riddler's like henchmen or followers, and he says that he is vengeance. So it kind of makes Bruce realize like we're no different than each other. So he eventually becomes. He says that he's hope.
Yeah, that's what we talked about before recording here. We were saying that during this film he's vengeance, but at the end of it he becomes a hero. He becomes Batman, and we've also talked about this here, saying that we'll probably see more of that duality now because he knows where to be right from wrong, and how to split those two.
Yeah, definitely. There were a few. Well, not.
There's a mistake that I want to talk about.
Definitely. Let's hear it.
So there's a scene right after the car chase where they interrogate Penguin, and you see them figure out that they have to go to the orphanage.
Yep.
So you see Batman peel off, and then you see Chief Commissioner Gordon, or whatever, Lieutenant Gordon, follow him, and then you see that little spotlight on cop cars as you know, if you've ever been pulled over, if you just see them driving by, you see.
I haven't, by the way.
Are you serious?
Nope. Now I'm probably going to. I've been driving since I was 17, and I'm 21 now, so pretty good.
So then you see that spotlight, and you see it shining, but a few scenes back, right before the car chase, you see that shit get blown off with a gunshot.
Oh, I never.
You
noticed
see
that.
Get shot with a gun.
I've never noticed that. That's really cool. You pointed this out to me last night when you were watching this film.
Yeah.
An Easter egg within the film. There was a kid on the subway with half of his face painted.
Yeah. So when I first saw that was probably first 15 minutes and maybe even less in the movie. When I first saw that, immediately I thought of Two-Face.
Which totally makes sense. Yeah.
Because, DC, Two-Face,
it
Batman,
goes together.
It works. But also the funny thing is the kid that plays
the guy in the subway?
The guy with half of the face with makeup, he's in the new Titan show. He plays Timothy Drake. He's eventually going to play Robin.
That's
or he's going to play, or because you see him and Nightwing, Dick Grayson finally invites him to join the Titans team. So I think Dick Grayson's going to train him to be the new Robin, because we actually just got Red Hood in the most recent season. Yeah. So somebody's got to replace Robin. So I think Dick Grayson's going to train him and instead of Batman.
That's pretty cool. I never noticed that.
That's an interesting idea. There are issues with it, so that's why it's an Easter egg, just a little nod to something else, because Bruce Wayne in Titans versus in Batman are years apart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne in Titans is like 70.
Yeah. I forget who plays him, but he's a good actor too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. There was one little Easter egg.
Real quick, do you have any Easter eggs?
No, but I am just going to say about that whole the half skull painted thing.
Yeah.
They did confirm that it's not any like well-known gang.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not for Two-Face or anything.
Gotcha.
Right.
Because a lot of people thought it was Joker at first.
Oh, okay.
Well, there
like
were
from
also
the trailers.
Well, there were also people with clown masks, and as soon as I saw that, I
This
immediately thought back to Dark Knight. And,
this is like V1 of Gotham.
Okay.
Like,
So this
no
is
one's
like
really
before
established.
Joker's Joker.
Everything. It's just mob at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Speaking of Joker, there is a deleted scene, which people who were in theaters did not get to see. The guy from the Eternals, Dunkirk, Eric Kogan, I believe.
Not
you
even
say
gonna
his
say he's in Game of Thrones too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I
that's
guess,
his main thing.
I know, but he's been in some other stuff that I've seen.
Yeah.
So he is playing the Joker, and he plays an ugly freaking Joker. Oh my God, this guy's makeup.
He's fucked up.
His face is torn apart, stitched back together.
Oh.
So there's a deleted scene in the Arkham prison.
I like the end. I liked his laugh.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. I don't like his voice. I liked his laugh.
Yeah.
He had a good Joker laugh.
So moving forward, he's going to be playing the Joker.
Yeah.
Now, if we can jump into the ratings on this film, and then we can give our ratings and wrap it up. So on Metacritic, there was a 72 out of 100. I thought that was pretty solid.
That was. I think that's what
It was okay.
It's right. It's right there.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 86%, which was pretty high, but I thought the movie was really solid.
That's
for
very
Rotten
high.
Tomatoes, yeah.
And then IMDb gave it a 8.1 out of 10, which
I
is
think
respectable.
I think it might be a little high for IMDb though.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I want to note: opening weekend, this film made $128 million, and the budget was only $185 million. So in the opening weekend, it almost made back what it put into the film itself.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we don't know the overall rating yet because
Yeah,
it's still happening.
Yeah,
it's still going on now.
So this. Oh wait, real quick before we wrap it up, let's jump into favorite scenes, favorite quote, whatever our favorites.
Yeah. So let's hear yours first.
My favorite quote is in the scene where Alfred just wakes up from the hospital.
Yeah.
And Bruce says, "God, I never thought I'd fear like that again. I thought I'd mastered all that. I mean, I'm not afraid to die. I realize now there's something I haven't got past. This fear of ever going through any of that again, of losing somebody I care about." And that just hit with me. That really just that hit with me, and it just made me feel.
It's real.
It made me feel,
I feel like
a lot of emotions at that time.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I have a favorite quote, and this is possibly within the the title of the episode, Batman or Bruce Wayne says, "When that light hits the sky, it's not just a call, it's a warning." I thought this was really, really cool. It's a real good Batman line, and I loved it. And also, my favorite scene is the car chasing scene, which I just broke down before. And Helv, let's see what you got.
Wait, you just stole my favorite scene too?
Yeah, I told you this last night that this
we'll
is my
circle
favorite
back to you.
Yeah.
We'll circle back. It's okay.
I'm not the host anymore. I'll walk out.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry.
My favorite quote is right after Selina overpowers Falcone.
Yeah.
And Batman stops her from killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, he has to pay. And then when Batman says, "You don't have to pay with him. You've paid enough."
Yeah, I thought that was
really
I
cool.
thought that was
wow.
really, really good.
Yeah, that was good. I liked it a lot.
And like pretty much everything he says to her to try to like do a little better, like, don't throw your life away too.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she's constantly fighting back. So
Now,
it's
now
good.
is that your
It's the
favorite
back and
scene
forth.
too? With that quote?
No, my favorite scene is actually the interrogation. Funny enough, I'm not huge on his
Really?
on Riddler's performance, but I like the interrogation.
Okay.
It was really good.
It's
I did
very
like
tense
that.
and it's
but
shot well.
It
That
was
scene
very
that scene
intense.
gave
Yeah.
me
Shit
End
was
of
scary.
Revenge of the Three and oh Jesus Christ.
Revenge of the
End
Sith.
of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where Darth Vader gets off that platform
Yep.
and just screams "No!" Like that's what it gave me, where he's just yelling for no
Yeah.
reason. So that's kind of what it made me think of, and I was like,
Yeah,
all
definitely.
right.
So your favorite scene, obviously.
Is the car chase scene, and the reason I love that so much is because like I felt that in the moment.
Yeah.
I literally felt that entire thing. I was literally
was so
watching
cool.
it, and I was like, "Yeah, you got to check your mirror, see if he's behind you. You got to,
I know,
check
right?
that. You got to do that. You got to do." And
Yeah.
I just literally felt like I was living that with him. So yeah, I really love that entire car chase scene.
Yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed
Now's
that
the
one a
part
lot.
of the podcast where we wrap everything up. We give our ratings,
Mm-hmm.
and we say goodbye to you guys. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
until the next one.
Yeah, definitely. So we break these movies down into 3 scales: acting, plot, and overall. So
Yes.
Vincent, let's hear your scores.
Acting, I thought was very good for certain people.
Mhm.
I think Catwoman could have been a little better. To be honest, she just seemed like she was sad all the time and crying all the time. It was just a little. I don't know.
Bland?
It didn't seem Catwoman-y. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she was cocky, but then it seems like she was always scared.
Okay.
So
that's
for
valid.
acting, I'm gonna give it probably a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Plot, it was a good plot. I wish we saw more.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that a 7 as well. Overall rating, I'll give it an 8. It was a good movie,
Yeah.
and, I'm putting all my bias aside. I'll give it an 8.
For me, acting, I enjoyed it, but I feel like there was a little bit more on the table that they could have done. So I'm going to give it an 8 as well. Plot, I'm also going to go with an 8 because I felt like it was good, but there was more to be desired with Catwoman that I wanted to see. We
Right.
didn't see enough of her, and that definitely like held me back from really loving this film because she's an interesting character. We don't see her that often, so I wanted to see her more. And then
Right.
overall, I'm going to go with a 9.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it, and I thought it was really solid.
And Helv, how about you?
What were the categories again? It was
Acting, plot, and overall.
okay. So for the acting, I only really have one critique,
Mhm.
and I love Jeffrey Wright. Pretty much everything he does is great. I just felt like he was kind of one-dimensional with his delivery. Maybe it's actually a plot thing and not a character or an acting thing, but it seemed like every time that he was on screen, with the exception of the interrogation of the Penguin or when he's screaming at Riddler, everything aside from that, he'll just pick stuff up, or he'll be like following Batman and he'll go, "What does this water bottle have to do with the Riddler?" And he's
Yeah.
just kind of whispering, and it's very
Yeah.
monotone.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
that's my only critique. Everyone else I thought everyone did.
So what
great.
would you say out of 10 for
Out of a
acting?
10? I'd give it like a 9 because it's only one person and it's minor.
All right.
I thought everyone was great.
Yeah.
Um,
And plot. What do you
plot,
got?
I would give probably like an 8. Just,
Okay.
I mean,
All
it's a good plot. There's nothing super,
Right.
it's definitely not going to be, inspiring things years to come.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Right.
It's a very good movie. Overall, I'd give it like an 8.5.
Okay.
If
That's
I
fair.
can do half. Yeah.
I guess.
Okay.
You're our guest. I guess I'll let you.
I should do it.
I think my score was so high because of how it was shot. I feel like going forward, superhero movies are going to be shot like this.
Yeah.
Cinematically, it was probably one of the best films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's why
I
my
really
score
like
is
the
so high.
fight scene too on the like the last where he's fighting all the
hallway?
Riddler's henchmen. No. Oh,
the elevator
yes,
scene.
yes.
That was one thing that I wanted to point out.
I love that one.
But
I love when they do that in superhero movies where it's like a dark based costume superhero,
and all you see is
is the flashing lights from the gun, and I love those scenes.
They did that so well, and that's
doubt.
another one of my favorite scenes. That's my second favorite scene in this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, well that wraps up episode 5 of the One Shot Podcast. Thank you, Helv, for being here.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah. It was fun.
It was a great episode.
All technical issues aside, by the way, I do want to point that out.
Yeah.
If you made it this far, there have been technical issues throughout this entire podcast, but thank you guys all for sticking with us.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for watching. If you're watching, thank you for listening. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you. The support we've been getting from this
it's been
crazy.
Immense. It's been so crazy, and we're so thankful.
It's been great.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you on the next Movie Monday.
Yep. See you later.
Peace.
Peace.